So there are three ways we can do this question. The easiest is, of course, the hardest to do, and that has to do with rewriting this by taking the square root of x to bring it inside a square root. You would have to rewrite it as square root of x squared, and then dividing this 1 plus x to the fourth over x squared, and that becomes 1 over x squared plus x squared. Now if you see this, this is our familiar expression. You may have seen it in other forms, but we can use the arithmetic mean, geometric mean inequality, which is a plus b over 2 is greater than or equal to square root of ab. In this case, a is that, b is that, so this becomes, it doesn't matter which one is a or b, is over 2 is greater than or equal to square root of 1 over x squared times x squared. So it was really important about identifying that form. So that becomes just 1, and that means 1 over x squared plus x squared is greater than or equal to 2. We're looking for the maximum possible value, and that would happen when this is the least, which it is 2. And so that would be 1 over root 2. And if you look at the answer choices, that would be choice D, because inside takes on the least value at 2. So that's the easiest, but also the hardest way to do it. The other approach you can take is you can just think of trying different numbers here. For example, how do I get this? So easy one that comes to mind is x equal to 1, which becomes 1 over root 2, which of course is here. But then the question is that the least? But what we can do with that at least I know for x equal to 1, this is my value, which if you compute this using calculator, or you might already know, is approximately 0.707. This is 0.5, so I'm already higher than that, so this can't be the answer. 1 over root 3 is 1 over 1.7, and that's going to be, I think, 17 times about 0.6, let's say. And that also is less than that. So clearly these two are out. That's a possibility. So I'm really left between these two. So one thing we can do is try values around 1. So you can try x equal to 1.1, what happens to this? And if you compute that and 0.9, what you will see is that if x equal to 1, we know the answer is 0.707 or 1 over root 2. You'll find both of these values are lower than that. So so we know that it's likely a maxima, but it could still be just a local maxima. So then we say, how do we rule out 1? Well, one way you can do this is to make this equal to 1 and see what's the corresponding value of x. Then we square. We end up with this, x to the 4 plus 1 is x squared. Now this is a quadratic in x squared, so our solution would be 1 plus or minus 1 minus b squared minus 4ac, and you will see that this is negative. So there's no real value of x for which this would be true. So I know a is also out. The answer has to be D. So this is kind of a hack, but if you're running out of time, actually this is what I did. And so that's the reality of doing these questions under time pressure. I didn't see this. I mean, obviously that's the best way to do it. So those are the two methods. And then the third one is you can take the derivatives if you're comfortable with calculus. So if this is f of x, f prime x would be, so these are the product of two functions where this is one function and the other one is that. So it's really, I mean, obviously the question is designed so you don't need to use calculus. But if you happen to know and you're in a corner and this is all you can do, you know, you might as well take a chance. So that one derivative is 1, and then it will be minus, why? Because this would be 1 plus x to the 4 minus half. So that's why you get the minus half, and then 1 plus x4 minus half minus 1, so minus 3 over 2, and then 4x cubed, taking the derivative of that. So that becomes, of course, this is more work. Minus 4x4 over 2, and then 1 plus x4. 3 over 2 goes down, so you can write it as 1 plus x to the 4th times square root. That becomes 2x to the 4th. I can pull out this, and then I get 1 minus 2x4 over 1 plus x to the 4th. So it's some manipulation, and then we get 1 plus x to the 4th minus 2x to the 4th, 1 plus x 4th. Numerator becomes 1 minus x 4th. And then you can equate that to 0. Our derivative is equal to 0, which you can see will happen when x to the 4th is 1, and x will be either 1 or minus 1 for real values. And we get back to, if x is 1, it's 1 over root 2. So clearly this is way too much work, but that's an option. Not ideal, and it's not what the CAT is designed for. They're not expecting you to use derivatives, but that's an option. Or you can do this hack, but of course the most efficient is using the AMGM inequality. So make sure you can kind of recognize this, because this does show up in different forms. So to summarize, the answer is D.